Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars of Wrestling Review Series. We enter the month of February 1993 here. February 6th, 93 is where we're going. And obviously, we're a couple months away from WrestleMania. We're a couple months away from a very, I guess I would say, historic time in the World Wrestling Federation, in terms of many people saying that WrestleMania 9 is a horrible process. Nasty Boys and Dave Silago and Robert Taylor is your opening contest here. And, very basic enhancement match for the Nasty Boys. Nasty Boys managed to... they're good baby faces at this point. Pity City, Pump Handle, Slam, and the like. Knobs does the double hair pull, and we go into a tag off there. And then the combination power slam, top rope elbow drop. And then we go to update featuring Harvey Whippleman and Giant Gonzalez. Gonzalez, of course, the WCW version of Elegante. They had him for about a couple of weeks, actually. We see his interaction with The Undertaker at the Royal Rumble. First time we've ever seen The Undertaker completely staggered. And this is probably, I would guess, maybe Kamala was it. But maybe the first, if not at most second time in his time in the WWF, and we're talking about nearly 2.25 years in that The Undertaker's ever been really challenged. Harvey Whippleman says he's going to get revenge on The Undertaker for changing Kamala for the worse. Then we go to Bam Bam Bigelow and Rudy Flores in the next segment. Bigelow starts making noise around this time of wanting to become the World Wrestling Federation champion. That makes sense. Bigelow, for the majority of the last couple of years, let's say part of 90 and 91, is a Japanese star. Comes back the end of 92 here, part of 92 actually. So last few years he's that, and hits a drop kick, hits a top rope headbutt, and a quick win for him. Big Boss Man talks about kind of coming out of the Royal Rumble. Doesn't really have much of a feud here. He's gone within a couple of weeks. I don't even think he's around for WrestleMania 9. I think he's pretty well gone here. And then Damien Demento talks about the voices in his head, and kind of, again, another promo where no one really has direction. Doink the Clown and Reno Riggins up next. This is one of the first matches of Doink. Might be the first, I'm not entirely sure. But before we get there, we do see the introduction and the posing from the Royal Rumble of Lex Luger, otherwise known as Narcissus, whose name they changed to the Narcissist. Lex Luger, of course, a guy who is standing in front of a mirror quite a bit. I think that's actually pretty apropos for his real-life persona, at least at that time. Luger, of course, finding religion and becoming a much humbler guy in recent years, but at that time in the 90s, Lex Luger was a very braggadocious and cocky individual. Pump handle slam, though, by Doink on Reno Riggins. Doink, of course, Matt Bourne. Matt Bourne has much more of a time in the world-class area than I imagined. He also does the WCW Big Josh thing. Brings a balloon animal in and pops a balloon over his opponent, and kind of does a split personality gimmick here. Uses I believe the stump puller to get a victory here. And Doink is pretty much in control. Mr. Perfect responds to Lex Luger and says that he's far from beyond perfect. that he is more than willing to take up the challenge of Lex Luger in the future, and basically agrees to fight him anytime, any place in a post WrestleMania, post Royal Rumble promo. They end up wrestling at WrestleMania, and we'll get there in a little bit, I'm sure. But then we go to the Yokozuna and Hacksaw Jim Duggan confrontation. Yokozuna winning the Royal Rumble just a few short weeks before. Duggan, mainstay from about late 87, early 88, his second time through, all the way till 1993. Doesn't leave until the end of 93, early 94. But anyway, they do the battle of the Fuji and Duggan are both waving their respective flags. Fuji waving the Japanese flag, Duggan waving the American flag. Duggan basically says that Yokozuna is insulting to the American people. The challenge here is that Duggan is to knock Yokozuna off his feet, which he eventually does. He does this with a leaping clothesline, among other tactics. They get several minutes out of this and basically do a bunch of stalling tactics, and Duggan does end up celebrating post the idea, and then we see salt in the eyes of Duggan, several bonsai drops by Yokozuna. Duggan is carried out on a stretcher. The idea is a mock Pearl Harbor, which obviously would not air today, but certainly airs here. Then we go to the Beverly Brothers, No More Genius. Pete Christie and Bob East are the opponents for the day. They are coming off a fresh loss to the Steiner Brothers in what was a very good match. I eventually want to cover all pay-per-views as well, so that's like 600 audios in and of itself. That'll take a while, but the goal is to have the largest audio wrestling library on YouTube and other platforms eventually as well. Anyway, uppercuts and the likes by the Beverly Brothers. Beverly Brothers hit the Shaker Heights, and that poor kid, either Mr. East or Mr. Christie, I don't know them well, but this is probably the worst greetings from Shaker Heights that we've ever seen. They're doing Headlock on Hunger charity drive for the Somalian Hunger Relief Fund. Tatanka encourages people to donate what they can, as that is a neighborly and rightly thing to do. High Energy promises that 1993 is going to be their year. The Repo Man basically says he wants to repossess the championship from Bret Hart, but may not have the opportunity. And the Nasty Boys talk about getting the gold back from Money Incorporated and making 93 the nastiest year they can and will have. So that is the close for this particular version of Superstars of Wrestling. We'll be back with more right after this.